Hi, I'm Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. You may recognize me as a leading relationship expert for TV programs such as CNN, The Today Show, Good Day Philly, Fox 29, Terman Hall Show, Mel Robbins Show, and local and national radio shows, just to name a few. I want to invite you to a very awesome opportunity that will enhance your life. Having courageous conversations that connect is key for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. Knowing the right strategies and techniques aren't as simple as we think. There are principles to understanding how we all think and feel. Right now, you can join in my free quarantine talks to learn what others spend thousands of dollars in therapy to know. Each day, while we are in quarantine at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch, listen, and learn tips that will help you get through this challenging time in our lives. Here's the good news. There is absolutely no cost for you to participate. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and the Gram at Ask Dr. RG. I look forward to seeing you join our crew. And that's connecting relationships for epic wins. Have a beautiful day on purpose. From my heart to yours.
Hey, everybody. This is Dr. RG here. I'm a little rusty, and I'm a little sleepy, as you all are, I'm sure. So bear with me. It's been a couple of weeks. Today is November 4th, 2020. This is Courageous Conversations Connect Space Quarantine Talks. This is yours truly, Dr. RG. And today, guess what we're talking about? Managing post-election day anxiety. Anybody anxious? Anybody but me? Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning, Toya. I see Karen. Hi, good morning, Deborah. I see you. Marcella, thanks for joining. I see Treasure. Hey, Treasure, how are you? So welcome to Facebook family. Welcome to our YouTube family. If you have not done so yet, please join our YouTube page. Go on over and hit the subscribe button and the notification button. Let people know. Call somebody else. Tell them, listen, if you want to have a little bit of a group therapy session here on the Dr. RG Courageous Conversations Connect Space, come on over. Let's talk about our anxiety because it's all on fleek. Yet, I really believe we still got this, right? Because by the way, I wore my love t-shirt. Can you see that? Because I believe, and let me turn it around. With love on the back. Too. Y'all might think I'm Pollyannish if you want, but I believe that love trumps hate. So bring on the persons that are on our crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins. I see Stephanie. I see Darlene. We're all anxious, right? We're all pretty anxious. So today we're going to talk about how do we decrease some of that anxiety post-election day? How do we manage it first? How do we decrease it second? And how do we move to a healthy place while we wait for the results? I believe we got this. But in the meantime, we've got to do some things for ourselves and for other people. So do me a favor, stay with us. Let some other folks know that we're on. We're talking about managing our anxiety. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Stay with us. All right, welcome. Listen, this is Dr. RG here. Welcome to the Courageous Conversations Connect Space. We call it quarantine talks. Maybe we'll just call it anxiety talks right now. Our topic is managing post-election day anxiety. And y'all know what we do first. We do our breathing because we need to kind of calm ourselves down a little bit. We need to process, but more importantly, we need to breathe, right? Breathe in and exhale. So as we've done for the last 6-7 months, right? Y'all tell me who you're breathing, with, who you're breathing for, and we can add some prayers to that because I think we all need them. Jen is on. Hey, Jen, she's absolutely exhausted. She says, Jen was a poll worker, and she's still got her own work to do, but she's sending love and prayers our way for the crew. So thank you for joining, and thank you for being a poll watcher. Who are you breathing with and for as we go into our breathing? I know where I was a little late, so I apologize for that. We were up pretty late, and I listened to as much as I could, and then I had to lay it down and pray about it and say, like, we still will claim the victory over all of this. Toya said, "This is good. I am breathing for my son." All right, Toya, wonderful. I am breathing for all of those persons that are actually still counting ballots in some of these swing states. Pennsylvania is one, Wisconsin is one, Michigan is one. We're still waiting to hear, I think, about Arizona and Georgia. I didn't watch the coverage this morning, so if I'm wrong, let me know. I think we're still waiting for Nevada. So anybody that's still out there, and also all those poll workers and everybody that was out there in the community, making sure that everybody got their vote in, I am breathing for them. Jess is on, my bonus daughter. She says, "Hey, good morning, Jess. Give Jace a hug and a kiss for me." She says, "I'm breathing for our country and our community." Me too. Me too. And I'm breathing for us. I really actually missed you guys, and I am breathing for our crew. We believe that connecting relationships for epic wins really means that we are stronger together and we win together, but we can't win if we are riddled with anxiety and fear and worry and anger and resentment. And yes, this country is telling us who they are. This is true, but we are stronger together if we figure out how to utilize our resources together. So Jesse's breathing for our country and our community. Toya is breathing for her son. I am breathing for all those poll workers, those poll watchers, all the elected officials, all those persons that are still counting votes in those swing states, because they've still got a lot of work to do. To Larissa's on, she says she's breathing for Joe Biden and Kamala. They need our breath and they need our prayers for sure. Hey, good morning, Joe Bud. Joe Bud is on. I'm breathing for our country. We are fighting for the soul of this nation, are we not? And we are fighting for our children and our future. And we're fighting for humanity and for democracy. And, I think we're in a good fight. I believe that we're going to win, but we got to be stronger and we got to be healthy in order to do that. Jen says she didn't get to bed until 5:30. Oh my goodness. Breathing for our family and friends, especially our country. Yes. And Karen says she's breathing for everyone. So we're a little behind, but let's get into our postures, guys. Let's get centered, because we still got a long way to go and we all have to still work today. I'm working all day today. I actually took yesterday off so that I could get myself, try to refresh myself, because I knew that I needed to do my protest and my mission and my ministry, which is actually helping people to deal with their anxiety. So I needed to get my head right. Toya says she's breathing for her son as well. Okay, great. And Darlene is breathing for peace and victory. Get into your postures, fingers, middle finger to your thumb, your hand, one hand over the next or to your sides. Try to arch your back. Try to stretch your back. Try to move your shoulders a little bit. And as we put ourselves in position to recenter ourselves, to recalibrate, to refuel, to re-envision what we are, the state that we're in, and how each person has a responsibility, a civic duty to honor not only the vote, but to honor humanity in the way in which we treat each other. We're going to take a breath. We'll take 5 breaths. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. We breathe oxygen in, because, by the way, we have not forgotten that we are still in a pandemic too, COVID-19, that's raging through Middle America still. We're in the holiday season. It's going to be colder in some of these regions, and they're saying that it's the twindemic. So you have the COVID-19 and the flu, and we deal with, systemic racism every day. I want to breathe also for Walter Wallace's family as well. They're still dealing with the tragedy in Philadelphia of their son being gunned down by the police. So at the sound of my voice, let's breathe in hope and serenity and peace and calm. Let's breathe out fear and worry and pain and unrest. Good morning, BJ. Tell me who you're breathing for. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. One last time. Make it count, crew. Big breath. Breathe in through the nose. And out. That felt good, right? Keep doing that. We're going to need to have our breath throughout the day, throughout the next couple of days. You all know if you're in Philly or in any area of the counties of PA, we won the fight so that we can actually receive ballots up until Friday that come through the mail because we know the mail was slow. We know what was happening with the mail, with the Postal Service. And so we can actually receive ballots through the Postal Service up until Friday. We can count every ballot, and we will count every ballot. And we have a large number of mail-in ballots and people that went to the early satellite election centers. Shout out to our good friend, Senator Vincent Hughes, who has been doing the darn thing out there, making sure that people in West Philadelphia and in his jurisdiction, they vote. And shout out to one of my favorite sister girls, Morgan and I, one of our favorite people on the planet. Happy birthday to Patty Jackson. She is such a great friend of ours. We've known Morgan and her for years, and she is 57 years young. She is doing the darn thing. She is making a difference. You hear her all throughout the airways in Philadelphia and in the neighboring counties, just making people feel better. And I'm sure she's doing that today. So I hope that she listens to this later. She's probably working, so she can't hear this. But I gave her a big birthday shout a little bit earlier, as she did me on my birthday. I love you, Patty Jackson. There's nothing you can do about it. Everyone in the crew, please give her a wonderful virtual hug while she's doing the work and wish her a wonderful happy birthday. So let's get into this. I know we're tired. I know some of us are anxiety ridden. I know we are worried. I know that we have some fears, but I do believe that love trumps hate. And I do not believe that fear and faith reside in the same space, as my good friend Jean Austen Jefferson says. And so we have to uptick, elevate our faith and try to figure out how to decrease our fear. Well, how do we do that? I mean, if this show is a transformative process, which we ultimately believe that truth, trust, and transparency leads to transformational breakthroughs, and we're about us transforming our minds, bodies, and spirits, and resetting our mindset. And so when things happen, like what's happening in the universe, right? What's happening, in the United States, these yet to be United States of America, when we're dealing with adversity, or we're dealing with struggle, or we're dealing with challenges, we have to find our center. We have to figure out, what is it that's going to ground us? What are the things that we can tap into? We talked about that early in this pandemic. How do you tap into the positive parts of it? So think about that when you're talking about how to decrease your anxiety. What can you tap into that helps to recenter you? Tap into the fact that you're home. Jen was working all night at the polls, or all day, didn't get until 5:30, but she had a home to come to. Some of us, I think about what I tap into, the fact that I don't have to go through this process alone. Not only do I have God that centers me on a daily basis, and I'm always tapping into his sovereignty, his grace, his mercy. the things that ground me. But I also have an amazing partner that helps to center me and gives me comic relief on a regular basis. And even yesterday we said that I said, babe, I need some comfort food. I need something that's gonna help me to feel better. And so he had this amazing seafood chili that he made that was on fleek. So we sort of tapped into our love for one another, our love for humanity, our love for our crew, connecting relationships for epic wins. We tapped into our love for our families. We tapped into our love of God. We tapped into our hope, right? Because when people lose hope, then bad things happen. Desperate people do desperate things. So we are tapping into all the good that we have to offer while not being naive that there's a lot of darkness out there, but we've come to bring light to darkness and to illuminate in places and spaces where, quite frankly, people have lost hope. So my question to you today, on post-election day, the election is not over by any stretch, and I do believe that we still win this thing. But in the midst of the process, what we said before is we turn pain into power when we appreciate the process. So, what are you tapping into today that's going to help to ground and center you? Y'all tell me, what are you tapping into? Because we have two options. We can tap into the positivity within ourselves and outside of ourselves, or we can tap into the negativity. We can sit in front of the TV, we can listen to all the numbers, we can get real anxious, we can tap into, by the way, that when we're anxious, we tend to displace that anxiety onto other people. Has that ever happened to you? Where you were anxious, you were upset, you were overwhelmed, and before you know it, whomever you are connected to, they got the wrath and they were like, well, what the hell happened? Like, I didn't do anything to you, lady, you know, but it's because that energy has to go somewhere, and it's all vibration. It's all energy. Right. And so even yesterday, we tended to yesterday, my other crew, my Howard crew, we had got on a prayer call and we tapped into our positive spiritual energy with each other. And there were tears and there was laughter, there was prayer. We tapped into our connection because why? Connections matter. So we did that yesterday. We're going to continue to do that. We're always praying individually for each other, but we don't do enough praying collectively for each other. What is it that helps you? Are you grounded in? Jen says, thanks, Mom. I absolutely, truly needed the breathing exercise. You truly lift up my soul and my spirit whenever you're on. Got a lot of work on my plate today. Love you always. Love you too, Jen. I'm praying for you. I'm wishing you, sending all the light and love your way as you have truly been a beacon of light to us. And so thank you for joining our crew this morning. I know you got work to do. FedEx me. She said something. Oh my God! Please FedEx me my plate. she wants Morgan's chili. Tapping in. She says tapping into positivity and the sun Barbados as rum punch later on. I gotcha. I've on a prayer line this evening. Got to moving topic. Awesome. Check out her prayer line as well. It's awesome. Toya says Philly. So again, there are 4 things that I want us to think about, and you tell me which ones resonate with you when it comes to trying to decrease your anxiety and your fear and your frustration. And by the way, I'm not saying, guys, that I believe that you should not understand and embrace all of your emotions. So if you have some fear, if you have some anger, if you have some frustration, it's okay to feel. Y'all know what I believe, right? If you have to, in order to heal, you have to feel, but you cannot heal what you don't reveal. Once you reveal it, then you can deal with it, right? So heal, feel, reveal, and deal. That's the real, okay? I know it's all a play on words, but we got to really tap into our emotions, all of them. But once we begin to understand our emotions, then we can begin to harness the positive emotions that help to center us. AJ says, I try to give myself time to let anxiety pass. It's like a date. If it will never be over at some point. I know anxiety doesn't need to last a long time. Let it happen and let it pass. I believe that's a great statement, BJ. With regards to your anxiety, it's kind of like the wind. It kind of passes through you and then it stops, passes through you and then it stops. And so if you use it from that perspective, and actually, quite frankly, if you tap into it to understand what it's trying to teach you, and actually you can do a body scan, guys, to find out where your anxiety shows up. Just scan your body and feel where you're tense. I know my anxiety shows up in my tummy, right? And my anxiety shows up right here in the tightness of my chest. That's kind of where my anxiety shows up. And sometimes I get a little bit of a headache. And what I try to do is I try to do some mindfulness and some meditation. Of course, y'all probably tired of hearing the 4 M's, but it does help: mindfulness, meditation, moving your body, then having this meaningful engagement, and then using music to center yourself. All those things ultimately help. Mindfulness, anybody new to the show today, mindfulness, meditation, movement, get your body moving, right? The mindfulness is you setting your intentions. The meditation is resetting your mindset. Then you move your body. Then you have some meaningful engagement. And by the way, I sort of had this experience the other day where I reached out to someone, and I was just checking on them, and that person just flooded me. I mean, the energy was so, I won't even say it was negative or toxic. It just was a lot because this person was overwhelmed. They had no interest in knowing what was going on with me. They just kind of let it rip. And so I realized that they needed to let it rip like that. But what I did for myself is I stayed calm. And once I got off the phone with that person, I went into my own meditation to kind of recalibrate myself, because they had literally just dumped all this negative energy onto me, and I needed to reprocess that, or reassign that energy, if you will. So if that happens to you, try to have positive engagement with someone else, and then of course the music can be really, really helpful. Toya says yes. So here are the 4 things. As you all think about what you're tapping into, and please tell me where your anxiety shows up. If you've done a body scan, tell me where your anxiety shows up in your body. Maybe we can talk about how to help you to resolve that, as BJ says, help to resolve it so that anxiety goes through you and doesn't set up residence inside of you. Does that make sense? So that it goes through you and doesn't set up residence inside of you. Tap into where your anxiety is. As far as the 4 things that can really help you with anxiety, and we can talk about this, and I want to hear from the crew if you're doing any of these things to reduce your post election day anxiety. Remember, we are still in the midst of an election. That's why I said it's the post election day anxiety, but we're still in the midst of an election. So the anxiety is still going to be there. BJ says it shows up in her stomach, in her heart, and in her chest area. This is the largest part of our body, and this is where a lot of our organs are. And so when that energy is coming into our body, of course, it's going to show up there. And by the way, we don't talk about this enough, but when we are in a state of anxiety, right, or having an anxiety episode, usually our cortisol levels increase and our adrenaline levels increase. And that can cause, those are our hormones that that our body really emits or develops because we're in an anxious state or we feel like we're in a fight. Well, how many of y'all feel like you've been in a fight? We've been in a fight for a while. That's why we've been talking about are you fit for the fight? Remember, we prepared ourselves for this. It's not like our crew is not prepared for the state that we're in right now. It's just that we sometimes have to remind ourselves, what is it that we need to do to take care of ourselves, to be transformative beings on this planet, to be the beacons of light, to illuminate positivity. Don't allow the darkness to overshadow you or to overtake you. So there's lots of things that we actually can do. Where does it show up to you? So again, 4 things that you can do. First thing that I would say in terms of decreasing anxiety, and post-election day, as we're in the midst of still counting, is prayer. For those of you who are spiritual, and I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about just prayer, just praying to something that is bigger than yourself, right? That would allow you to move in a different way, internally and externally. I do believe that prayer changes things. I personally believe that. Morgan and I pray collectively and individually on a regular basis. We got on my girls and I got on a prayer call yesterday. Prayer is very, very helpful to the spirit. It allows you to get outside of yourself and your own angst and move to a space that is bigger and larger on this planet. And so, even when we're breathing, when we're doing our breathing exercises, and when you do throughout the day your breathing exercises, think about prayer. Think about praying just in your mind. Who and what are you praying for? Yourself, humanity, essential workers that are still out there, the election process, the judicial system, our whole political process that, quite frankly, needs to be completely revamped for all people. Tell me, that is a way in which we can connect with people and with the universe on a larger scale. So what I'm asking people to do is, whatever your process is, integrate, infuse prayer as a part of that. That's the first thing that you can do to decrease your post anxiety, the post election day anxiety. Second thing that we can all do is pause. Just pause. Be still for a minute. That's unusual for most of us because most of us are taught to keep running like a hamster on a wheel, moving from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And if we're not moving physically, mentally, our mind is spinning, oftentimes out of control. So sometimes, and the meditation and the mindfulness can help you to just take a pause. And I encourage people to do that throughout the day. Turn the TV off, turn your phone off because your phone has become like a TV, dim the lights, center yourself, and pause. Put nothing in your headspace. Just be still. I wouldn't even encourage you in that pause not to think about the future, not to think about the past. Just be centered in the present. Pause so much that you actually can feel your breath and hear your breath, maybe even hear your heartbeat, and allow yourself to feel your own presence, that you're still here. Guess what? That means if we pause long enough to realize that whatever has happened the day before, the night of, didn't take us out of here, then we still have an opportunity to make a difference. We still have an opportunity to spread love through humanity. We still have an opportunity to connect with each other, to make a difference. Mahatma Gandhi said, "We must be the change we wish to see in others." Well, what does that look like for us? Y'all tell me, do you spend enough time just pausing? Just take Kamala, I'm saying. Take a pause. Take a comma in your day. Take a breath. Decrease your anxiety that I'm sure is on fleek because all of our anxiety is on fleek right now. So there's the prayer, there's the pause, and then there's the personal connection. That's the next step. Who are you personally connected to? Are you personally connected to yourself? Are you personally connected to someone else? Yesterday, I spent a good portion of my day reaching out to the seniors in my life because I hadn't talked to them in a while. And I was like, I know that many seniors are isolated. We've talked about this as a part of our crew before, you know, so called them, and just sat down and chatted. Sometimes we chatted about the election and other times we didn't chat about the election. But having a personal connection, and if it's not with someone else, are you personally, and I know this sounds strange, but are you personally connected with you? Amidst all the chaos, amidst all the weapons of mass distraction, amidst all of the confusion, can you bracket that Can you boundary it or compartmentalize it in such a way that you maintain and sustain and then gain a personal connection with you, right? We matter. You and we, all of us, a part of the crew, matter. So we're connected right now in this moment. But in order for us to be connected really, that what has to happen is that we have to be personally connected with ourselves. That's why we're talking about tapping into our anxiety. But I also want you all to tap into the hope for humanity. That's real too. And, we've become so jaded in the society that we've forgotten about the fact that we are all connected. We're all connected through this thread and this tapestry of humanity that allows us to both be diverse and similar. It allows us to, share in hopes, wishes, and dreams for both ourselves and for our children. And that's why we went out to vote. That's why we want all of our votes counted. That's why we don't stop and that we won't stop and that we will have the victory ultimately, no matter what the outcome. So, personal connection is key for all of us. And then the last thing I would say in terms of reducing our anxiety is how do we pivot? If you are stuck, and many of us are, if you're stuck with feeling of insecurity or has maybe nothing to do with the election, but everything to do with your own personal life, if you are stuck in a place of darkness, if you're stuck in a place of negativity, if you're stuck in a place where you feel like you have no hope, right? Let's pivot. We've got to start pivoting our minds, reset our mindset, pivot to a healthier place for the things that you can do, for a healthier place in your own life. And as you pivot, take some folk with you. Call somebody else up and say, let's pivot. Let's pivot to some higher place. I know for me that this, not just election, but this time in life that we are all sharing, dealing with the collision of two pandemics, COVID-19 and systemic racism, has really caused me to pivot. I actually feel like I'm still pivoting. I am working hard and being intentional in my delivery. I'm being intentional in how I process things. I'm being intentional in how I illuminate the space that I'm in, wherever I'm in, so that whomever is connected to me feels my positive energy. And that's a pivot in and of itself, because if we're not careful, what the community is offering up in terms of the energy is what we then internalize. And if we're not careful, before we realize it, we're actually emitting that negative energy. So I'm asking all of us, as we reduce our anxiety, pivot. Pivot your mind, pivot your thoughts, pivot your energy, pivot your projections, pivot your hope. Like, oh, pivot that to a healthier place, or quite frankly, pivot with regards to your connections. Are your relationships what you want them to be? Are they what you desire them to be? Are they what they once were? Quite frankly, we're about to go into the holiday season, right? And it's going to look very, very different. Thanksgiving is going to look different. Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you do celebrate, it's going to look different because of the COVID-19 virus, because of the super spreading that's happening, because of systemic racism, because of this election. How many of y'all have people that were once friends and they're no longer friends because now you found out that they have a very different political view? What does that look like for you? And how do you pivot, no matter what those relationships are, to a healthier place? Because the question for you to ask yourself is, what energy are you giving to the equation, right? Are you the common denominator in that relationship that either projects positive energy or negative energy? BJ said, leading with kindness, fix your attitude. I agree with that, BJ. Absolutely. Toya says, yes, we have to pivot all year. And then Deborah says, pivot our mouths. Absolutely. Always bring someone with you. So if you're making, and by the way, everybody won't come. We will be trying to pull people along. As Toya says, always bring someone to you. We will try, right? But sometimes we want more for people than they want for themselves, right? And years ago, I used to work in addiction, in the field of addiction, and people would say sometimes people will pull you down before you pull them up. So you got to be really careful about the type of energy that you are expending as you're trying to bring some other folk with you, right? They have to want to come. They have to want to be different. We're not on this call because we're trying to adhere to the status quo on the show. We're here having courageous conversations that connect in this space with our crew because we're trying to create change, right? We're trying to make sure that if we have birth and death, there is a dash. And the question is, what are we doing in the dash to make a difference? BJ says pivoting projection is difficult because I feel like people have the strength to do better and be better, which gets me in trouble. Yeah, yeah, it does. I get it, BJ, that, we do feel like we want people to do better and be better, but they also have to know it and feel it, or at least be willing to make some significant changes. And we have to be discerning to know whether or not our energy is going to be wasted. Sometimes when I say pivot, I mean like I'm going to drop a nugget. I'm going to hope you pick it up, and then I might pivot from that. I'm not going to sit there for hours and hours and hours expending energy that I may not have and not know whether or not that is even going to render a positive outcome. So I'm going to drop the nugget. I'm never going to not give positive and light and shed light and illuminate. But I might not stay with there with you too long, because the pivot is I've got to protect myself. I've got to take care of myself. I've got other things other spaces that I have to be in order to create change, if you will. Tiny says, okay, not everything, everyone, but my children better listen. I hear you, Toya. And Darlene says, this also may need to know how to do what is needed. They also may need to know how to do what is needed. And some people don't have the bandwidth. I always ask people the significant question when I'm trying to invoke change or evoke change in people. I ask, here's something that I think that you could do that might render a better outcome for you. Now, the question is, when I'm working with couples, you all know I still see clients. And if you are interested or you know someone that's interested, you can always reach out to us contact us at connectionsmatterllc.com or 215-789-6999. So I ask the question to people, two things. Once I give them sort of a strategy, some tactical strategies by which they can implement, then I say, here's the question I want to know. Are you willing and are you able? Because some people are willing and they're not able. Some people are able, but they're not willing. Willingness means that you actually have the desire to make a change. And change is hard, don't get me wrong. And it's a process, and you have to be patient with the process. The ability to do it means you have the capacity to make change. And here's the deal. You need a little bit of both. And so when we're embarking on changing a whole mindset, when we're embarking on changing minds, hearts, and we can't legislate anybody's heart, but if we're embarking on creating a movement, which I believe this crew, Connecting Relationships for Epic Wins, is all about, when you're in that space of creating that change, you got to have a little bit of willingness and an ability, right? You have to desire it and then have some capacity, and then you can build on that ability and that capacity, and you can build on that willingness and that desire. But there are some people that have, and Morgan actually and I were talking about this morning, they have neither. They have no willingness to change, nor do they have the capacity. In other words, they don't desire to change, and they're not putting enough energy or putting any energy into stretching themselves in order to pivot to a healthier place. So what do you do with those people? How do you help humanity? Well, again, as Mahatma Gandhi said, we must be the change we wish to see in others. It starts with who? You. You and me. That's who it starts with. Then we build from there. And this is why I wore this t-shirt. If y'all just came on, y'all see my love t-shirt. It's probably backwards and I love on the back. If y'all can see it. That's why I wore it, because I do believe that love trumps hate. And I'm never going to stop believing that. I do believe that we are stronger together. I do believe that there are people that we are connected to, specifically in this crew, but all across the world, that actually believe in humanity and believe that we can change if we put our minds to it. I believe that with every fiber of my being, and I believe that we can make a difference, right? So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, as we begin to wrap up, I want to hear from you. What of those four things are you going to do to decrease your anxiety post-election day? I love you guys. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson. You may recognize me as a leading relationship expert for TV programs such as CNN, The Today Show, Good Day Philly, Fox 29, Terman Hall Show, Mel Robbins Show, and local and national radio shows, just to name a few. I want to invite you to a very awesome opportunity that will enhance your life. Having courageous conversations that connect is key for a healthy relationship with ourselves and others. Knowing the right strategies and techniques aren't as simple as we think. There are principles to understanding how we all think and feel. Right now, you can join in my free quarantine talks to learn what others spend thousands of dollars in therapy to know. Each day, while we are in quarantine at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can watch, listen, and learn tips that will help you get through this challenging time in our lives. Here's the good news. There is absolutely no cost for you to participate. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, and the Gram at Ask Dr. RG. I look forward to seeing you join our crew. And that's connecting relationships for epic wins. Have a beautiful day on purpose. From my heart to yours.
Hey there, this is Dr. RG here at Courageous Conversations Connect Space Quarantine Talks. We've been talking about how to manage our post-election day anxiety. It's been a ride, and we're still on the ride. And quite frankly, I absolutely believe we win. Someone says, I think Atoya says, and celebrate the small wins. Absolutely. Small wins matter. Small wins turn into big wins. And I think that if we bring our full selves to the table in everything we do, in the spaces that we reside in our spiritual space, in our physical space, in our emotional space, in our mental space, in our relational space, in our familial space, in our work spaces, which are now our home spaces. I'm talking about all those spaces. If we do the necessary work to take care of ourselves and show up big, then we can shift, we can pivot this culture, change culture in a way that helps us and helps our community and certainly our children. Jessica says, we cannot blame those who do not know how to change. We can only show them what change looks like and encourage them to grow. It is often not that people don't want to change. They truly do not know how to change. Yeah, I believe that. I do believe that people end up being in spaces and places where they don't see change for themselves, and they don't have a pathway to that change. And so therefore, how we show them is to do it. And we hope that they will follow suit. We hope that. And if not, then we keep moving and we keep connecting with persons that we believe are going to help us to make a difference on this planet. Because this is ours. This planet belongs to us. God has provided us, I believe, this is my personal belief, with an opportunity for however long we are on this particular planet to actually make a difference. And we can do that collectively if we believe in each other and if we believe in the ways in which we can honor goodness, hope, peace, love, true serenity, and calm, right? And right now, we got to be patient, right? In this election process, they are still counting votes. So we have to be patient. We have to not pivot too fast to an indecision because the indecision has not been made yet. And during that process of being patient with the process, we can do some things to help ourselves and help each other. So I don't know how many people have to work today, what you're doing today, but I'm going to encourage you to breathe today. Continue to do your breathing exercises throughout the day to keep good breath in your body. I'm going to encourage you to take good care of yourselves. Drink water, hydrate. I got my water right here. Hydrate, drink some good food, eat some good food, maybe some comfort food if you need it. Pass some good energy on to a friend, whether it's a text, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email. Try to stay in that positive space and know that we win. In the final analysis, we do win. And as we win, it's going to be an opportunity to change culture for the better, and change culture for all people, and not get caught up in cynicism and hatred and bigotry and uh, being unkind and mean to our fellow brothers and sisters of all races, of all creeds, of all sexual orientations, of all religions. We all matter on this planet, and we must be the change we wish to see in others. So this is about us connecting. We truly believe that we can make a difference if we all band together. And for those who don't want to come on this journey, we'll still be here. We'll be here making a difference. Hopefully, still praying and hoping and breathing in a way that allows us to be better, not bitter, if you will. So I think that's really all I got, guys, for today. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for participating. I know that I wasn't here. I was a little under weather last week, so thank you for your prayers that you gave me throughout the week. I feel so much better, both physically and mentally, and I just appreciate you guys. Toya says, Dr. RG, I'm a parent advocate. My work continues either way. I'm going to turn off the TV and keep it moving for these Black and brown babies. Well, thank you for all that you do, Toya. I just saw that you had reached out to me to say, am I coming on live? So I'm glad that you kept looking for us and that you participated. And yes, keep working on behalf of those Black and brown babies. Deborah says, I'm still stuck on Morgan seafood chili. DM, you must DM sister the recipe. Oh my God, it was so good, Deborah. So that's definitely what we're going to have for the rest of the week. Morgan don't play. I'm telling you, Morgan does not play, and we eat really good, and I am appreciative of it. My husband is amazing in so many ways, and I'm so appreciative that I'm on this journey with him. I'm surprised he didn't come on today. So he's working behind the scenes, trying to multitask, but he sends his love as well. Oh, there he is. He sends his love. Listen, guys, we love you. We don't want to dishonor your time. We know you have a lot of things going on, but we love you. There's nothing that you can do about it. We're going to be praying for and with you throughout the day and throughout the week. Thank you for the prayers that you have given us as a couple as we continue to try to make a difference in our little corner of the world. Okay. And so have, as I always say, a beautiful day on purpose from our heart to yours. Bye.